I don't know what you were expecting, but I certainly wasn't expecting this. Welcome to Crocs in the Kitchen.
I'm Jessica.
And I am Brian. Yes, today it's all about the unexpected. Well, not really. We were actually expecting things, but they unexpectedly didn't happen.
Wait, what?
Yes.
So this is 5 things that we thought would happen when we were losing weight that didn't.
Yes, absolutely. That is what it is. So we were sitting around and we were just chatting about different things, and Jessica was like, we should do a video on this, like things that we thought would happen but didn't actually happen. So what do we actually have? So this is actually the list. What?
Actually, we were chatting about this months ago, and I had it on like a little note paper, and I went through my notes of like recipe ideas and video ideas the other day, and just on this little scratch paper was this idea, and I was like, wow, that was actually a really good idea.
Yeah, it's better than what I did the other night, where at like 3 a.m. I wrote Jessica a message on Facebook, and it was like all of this entire stream of ideas that I got like really quickly. So
he wants to do a video on bad things that have happened since we started losing weight. Tell us in the comments below if you want to see that video. I don't want to be too negative. A lot of those are going to be like funny.
It's not negative. It's absolutely hilarious.
Because there are negative things that do happen when you lose weight.
Yes.
But this video is not that topic.
No, definitely not negative stuff. So
let's get on with number 1.
Yes. Number 1 on the list is that we would get sick of eating this way.
Especially salads.
Yes. And I mean, it's kind of a weird thing to think about, but at the time when we were really getting started, we were eating soups and salads basically, or stews, chili, that kind of thing. And so we were eating a lot of the same stuff all the time. We are more experimental now, especially on weekends, just because we can make dinner. And now that we're quarantined, we
as we're trying to like develop new recipes and stuff like that, it makes us be more experimental. But I think originally when we set out to do a whole food plant-based diet, we thought it would just be, so restrictive that we just get sick of the food and we wouldn't want to, I don't know. And that definitely did not happen. Like, yes, there have been times when I've gotten sick of salads and gone for a few weeks without having a salad. But I always want to come back to my salads.
Yeah. And for me, whenever I get like tired of whatever salad is that I'm eating at the time, a lot of the core components stay absolutely the same. You guys have seen our salad prep video before, hopefully. If you haven't seen it, then we will have a link somewhere up there for you guys to click on that and check that one out. But a lot of the core components stay the same, but the dressings and like little tidbits here and there will change. And so if I get tired of something, I immediately will just switch to something else and try and figure out a different recipe that I can use. Especially if obviously we just had our chorizo tofu recipe. So the entire time though, I was making chorizo tofu, and then we were generally using it on salads for the evening. So I do a lot of that kind of stuff as well, where I'm recipe testing certain ideas, and a lot of those things just happen to be able to also fit into salads.
I think what we've learned about the food is that there are so many different combinations that you can make out of all these different plants. And in the beginning, it seems like there's not, it's just going to be, I'm eating lettuce all the time.
Yeah.
And you don't realize how much there actually is. So, yeah.
All right, let's get to number 2, Jessica.
Number 2 is that we thought that we would lose all of our hair. And this was mostly me because I would Google and there's a lot of stuff. If you Google or there's a lot of things. But here's the thing, and there's a lot of people saying like if you eat a vegan diet specifically, you'll lose your hair or something like that. And I got obviously you guys know I have anxiety, so I got really stressed out about this. And stress can cause hair loss, and also just losing weight in general can cause hair loss.
Rapid weight loss can cause hair loss. It's just a fact of what happens.
Well, and so in my mind, I'm thinking, well, is it a result of eating the way I'm eating? And here's the thing. The worst part is I never was losing any more abnormal amount of hair. There may have been a couple of times where my hair loss has been a little bit more increased over the last 2 years, but it's been 2 years and I still have a full head of hair. My hair is pretty much exactly the same as it's always been. Obviously I'm getting grayer as time goes by, but I started going gray when I was like 25 and I'm 30, what am I, 34?
Yes.
So yeah, that didn't have an effect on it. There was one point though where we bought like the special little thing, like tub stopper that was on Shark Tank. And I would just like every day I would take it out because it collects all the hair and just see like, is the amount of hair increasing? There have been times when I would brush my entire head of hair into the sink, and maybe more than one of the times I literally would count, because I think you can lose like, I don't know, 150 or so average strands of hair per day. And I would count to see if I was over that amount. I got pretty crazy about it. I was super worried about it.
Anxiety, Jessica, is
yes.
crazy.
I was really worried about it. And I haven't noticed any thinning of my hair. So that's the bottom line.
Yeah.
And the truth is, we all lose a lot of hair anyway. And if you start paying attention to how much you actually lose and counting each piece, literally, you're going to think that you're losing your hair. Yeah. And you may even stress yourself out to the point where you are losing your hair. And this is not to say that some people, when they lose weight, again, it
depends on the person, but yes, it does happen.
But for us, we have not had any issues with that.
Yeah, I never really had thick hair to begin with. I've always kind of had thinner hair, like ever since I was, as long as I can really remember. But yeah, I wasn't even, if it happened, it happened. If it didn't, there wasn't much I could do about it. I think I could pull off a bald look if I wanted to, though.
I don't know. Your hair has gotten less curly over time.
It's true.
But I think it's because it's gray and the gray hairs aren't as curly. But then again, my hair has become more wavy over time because it used to be pinned straight and I don't know. But anyway, hair.
Right. Number 3 on our list is that we would feel like we are missing out on a lot of experiences. Now, for someone like me, I love food. I've always loved food. It's like I've stated in other videos, it's like an art form. It is like a science. It is just this fascinating thing that I absolutely love. And when it's done really, really well, it blows my mind, just like hearing an extremely good song. Just, it's that level of sort of artistic intensity for me. And when we were going through all of this and I knew that this was going to be a serious lifestyle change and we were going to be doing this for the rest of our lives, I kind of like got that thought in my head, like, man, I'm going to miss out on like all of this other stuff that I, used to be able to go out and experience and all of that. But you know what? That didn't happen at all, because like we've stated before, it expanded our food horizons drastically. We eat a lot more variety of foods now than we ever did before. We get to experience all these new things, especially because, now we see more of the seasonal effect on food. And so we get to see how like different things are grown in different periods and how we get to experience those things. It's like it's amazing the level of variety that we now experience and get to really, really enjoy.
Yeah, and travel is really important to us. And so I think there was this fear that we would not be able to enjoy travel as much. But honestly, it's become sort of a really awesome challenge.
Yeah.
To try to figure out, well, not only like how, are we going to have our rare and appropriate where we eat whatever, but how are we going to stick to our diet, a majority of the time or some of the time, and to find new places that we can go eat. We have a tendency when we travel, if we go to like a city that we love, we will go to like the same 3 restaurants over and over again. So this has definitely, I can't even explain to you how many new experiences we've had, but that was a really big fear. And I think it's a really big mental block for people who are wanting to lose weight, that they are going to have to change and they don't want to lose that comfort of that experience that they are used to.
Yeah.
But just trust us, there's a whole new world out there that you haven't even experienced yet.
Yeah. And I tell you what, there is a great joy that comes when you're traveling and you search for restaurants and you search like vegan, oil free, and something pops up and you're just like, it's so good. It's like, it's a highlight of your life.
Yes.
It's like,
and you will talk about it forever because it's like, oh, we found that rare thing in the wild.
We found that diamond in the clay, and it's just there. It's like, yes, thank you. But let's get on to number 4.
All right, number 4 is that we thought, so these are things again that we thought would happen while we were losing weight, but didn't. So we thought we would fail again.
Yes, I would say that like we weren't necessarily thinking that we were going to, but we were thinking that it could possibly happen. And, you know, for me, like thinking before that I was getting closer to death by being the weight that I was, I was terrified that if I fell off and I couldn't get back onto a diet and I couldn't get back to losing weight and stuff like that, that I was just getting right back into the old pattern that would end up killing me. So, you know, yeah, I was absolutely worried that we would fail. Now, I was extremely hopeful that we weren't, and I keep telling myself, because I'm a stubborn person, and be like, nope, I'm not gonna fail. I'm not gonna fail. I'm not gonna fail. That's like my mantra for at least when we were initially getting started.
Yeah.
Now it's completely our life, and so there's no chance that we could fail at this point because we know better now. We know all this stuff and all of the greatness that we've experienced and all of the weight that we've lost and how good we feel and everything.
And I think in the past we've done so many things to try to lose weight and all that stuff, and we've always eventually failed, like we gained the weight back or whatever. And so this time I think the huge difference, I have never, ever on another like diet or anything I've been trying to do, never have I gone off and failed for like an entire, you know, month or so and then gotten back on and been able to continue it.
Mm-hmm.
And so the fact that I just went through that, I'm actually really glad that happened. As I said in my other video about my tips for getting back on track, I'm glad that it happened because it proved that this time is different. Mm-hmm. And that this time we have made a lifestyle change. And so, yeah, we may get off, but I don't consider that failure. Mm-hmm. I just consider that like a little bump in the road. And the only thing I would consider failure is if we totally abandoned ship, went back to the way we did, gained all the weight back, all that.
Yeah.
You know, as long as we are still putting up that good fight, I feel like we are not failing, but definitely was something that I thought, you know, would happen. And even if I thought we would lose the weight just because I had lost, you know, 100 pounds before and put it back on, and same with you, you know, we'd both lost, I mean, gosh, between the two of us, we've probably lost like 4 tons in our lives. And so it's just that there's always that little like thing in the back of your head, like I'm probably not going to succeed at this because I've never been able to succeed before, but this time is just different.
So I actually knew after the first time that we went on vacation while we were initially losing the weight and everything, which I believe was Vegas, right? We went to Vegas?
Or was it New Orleans?
Oh, yeah, it might have been New Orleans, yes.
Well, how do you say it?
Nolans. It was right after we got, like, we're heading back from that trip that I realized that this was absolutely our life going forward. And that was because it was cool to experience the food that we ate, especially, you know, a lot of the vegan food, because that one really opened up my mind. But I knew that I was going to stick with it for the rest of my life, because when we were driving back home, I was like, man, I really can't wait to get home and make a salad. And that's when I knew. But we have our number 5 on the list, though.
So number 5 is actually 2-part because
we had to split this one up.
We each had like an individual one that didn't apply to the other person. And so we thought, you know what, let's make number 5 that. So do you want to start with yours?
Yeah, we can start with mine. So mine was also kind of an interesting one, and I don't know if anybody else can really relate to this or not, but I mean, maybe some of the men out there definitely can, but I felt that after losing the weight, I would lose my identity. And the reason why I say that is because if I wasn't the fat guy, then who was I? Because being fat defined my life in a lot of ways. And so I didn't know if me losing the weight would completely change how people saw me or how I would see myself or something along those lines. But in reality, what happened was I started losing the weight, and then I became sort of this person that other people looked up to and, you know, really tried to emulate in losing their own weight and stuff like that. And so, like, yes, I did actually end up kind of losing my fat guy identity. I know I still joke about that, but I've gained something so much better than what I had before, which was maybe a funny looking giant guy. But now I've just gained so much more out of it than I ever possibly lost. And in fact, it's not really a loss, because that version of me wasn't the real version of me. That was the version of me that was afraid and fearful, and now I'm not that person anymore.
Do you think you kind of used the being fat like as kind of a security blanket? Like that was
it's absolutely a defensive measure.
It's like certain people, like you remember back to like high school days, you always had like the class clown, and you know that there's something that they're like. I feel like sometimes people use stuff like that as kind of like a defensive mechanism.
Well, if you make fun of yourself first, nobody else can make fun of you.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a great defense mechanism, and it worked extremely well for me. And in fact, I still do it because I've got my own insecurities or whatever it happens to be. But I mean that, and I think I'm. It's funny when I make fun of myself too. I make myself laugh at my own jokes, which is even dumber. But yeah, I kind of felt that I was going to lose myself, and in fact I did. So that one actually did kind of happen.
No, see, that's where I think you're wrong. I don't think you lost your identity, because I think the person that you were is part of your identity, and it's evolving, and it makes your message.
Well, that's what I was saying before. Is that the old version of me was the wrong identity?
Yeah.
And now I have more of the right identity.
But I don't even know if it's the wrong identity. I think it's kind of that thing of like, oh, you went through that, and now you can speak to this, like to people about that. And so, we were having kind of a really personal conversation a few weeks ago about that kind of topic of like, being allowed to experience something that's negative in order to then help like spread a message or shape other people's lives because you've been through it. And so I think that's kind of really important. But anyway,
on to yours.
Mine actually is that I thought my anxiety would go away. I thought that my anxiety was completely wrapped up in my weight and my, I guess kind of being just, what's the word for it? Like you are very insecure, there's some kind of word that I can't think of right now.
I don't know.
Low self-esteem. So like I had low self-esteem. I thought that like losing weight, I would gain confidence, which I did, right? But it didn't exactly take away all of my anxiety, which is something I've struggled with my entire life. But I actually think that I will talk about that in an upcoming video, because I am going to be filming very shortly my video about my anxiety. And so I think I'll kind of leave that one to go into there.
Yeah,
just because
it's a deep subject.
It's a very deep subject for me. But bottom line for this video is I thought that losing weight would take away all of my anxiety. But in the end, although it did help, it did not take it all away. It didn't, completely remove my anxiety. And so, there's other things that I had to sort out to work on for that. But yeah.
Yep. But those are the top 5 things that we thought would happen, but did not actually happen. I hope you guys really enjoyed that one. This was fun for us to kind of put together and actually come up with our thoughts for what we would explain.
But if you have a thing, that you thought would happen while you were losing weight that didn't end up happening, we would love to hear it.
Yes,
I'm
absolutely.
sure there's many more. So comment below and let us know, and we can kind of get a little discussion going down there.
Yes, and while you're commenting, you should probably hit that like and then subscribe button if you haven't actually subscribed to the channel, and hit that bell notification that is right next to it. Also, I know I'm doing this in a different order. I don't care. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook, and you can obviously follow along with our lives there, especially on Instagram. Jessica posts a lot of stuff to our stories and photos and whatnot. Also, you can send us messages there, and we love to interact with you guys on those mediums.
Also, I have a secret.
Okay.
I made a YouTube channel for Brian's music.
Yes, she did. There's a link below to it, but it's just Brian Kroc. It's just me, and it's
well, if you search for Brian Kroc, you might find the other Brian Kroc, who is our friend and very talented musician.
Just amazing, stupidly talented jazz composer.
Yes.
I always joke that I am the lesser talented Brian Kroc, and he is the more talented Brian Kroc.
You just have different kinds of talent.
But he's amazing, and I absolutely love it. So
find that Brian Kroc too. While
yeah,
you're
like
at
his
it.
stuff. He just had a new album, a live album, pop out yesterday. When we're recording this, so.
When you get skinnier, you'll look more and more like that Brian Kroc, and then it will get really confusing when people search for you guys, because you do have like similar features.
I'm just gonna do the mustache after that, like he's got right now. But I'm kidding, Brian.
All right,
if you're watching
off
this,
track.
But what else do we got? I think that's pretty much it. Hit like, share, subscribe, all that kind of fun stuff.
Subscribe to Brian's new YouTube channel.
Subscribe to the new channel, please. If you enjoy good Christian music, I'm doing some covers on there. I'm doing my original stuff as well. Just really basic recordings of me playing guitar and stuff. So it's not super fancy. There's nothing like produced or any of that. But look at me making excuses for it.
It'll be once a week though.
But we are really hoping to get some subscribers on that. And if you want to listen to my music, please go ahead and do so. But that is all I got.
That's all I got.
We will see you next time on Crocs in the Kitchen. Bye.
Bye.